All right. Let's go. Let's go. So much. And I mean, so much is in the news. This is a jam-packed show. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is the Derek O'Shea Show.
Welcome to the revolution.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. It literally always means so much to me that you do. If you want to support me, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. The link is in the description below. I would greatly appreciate it. Share this with all your friends and families and neighbors. Tell them about the Derek O'Shea Show. It's the only way I'll grow is through people like you. But let's get right into some of my thoughts for today. Last Friday, I had like a long rant that I put out everywhere about kind of the state of everything that's going on in the country, especially stuff with Russia. And I kept saying this since the beginning, that there were so many people clapping and excited about these, let me fix my camera, sorry. These Russian oligarchs, all their property being taken away, and excited about it because it's wartime. People get pumped up about war. They have an enemy all of a sudden, and we can unify together. It's not you, it's somebody else. And so people get really pumped up about it, and they're like, let's take all their stuff. Let's get rid of all their things. Let's cancel them out of the world. Let's sanction them to hell. Let's not allow them to use our credit card systems. Let's just get rid of them. Not thinking of the implications. And my first thought was, I can't believe how many people are so willing and excited about this whole thing going down, thinking that one day it won't turn to you. It'll never be me, it's the Russians. It'll never be me, it's the anti-vaxxers. It's funny how these anti-war people are all of a sudden pro-Putin all of a sudden. It'll never be me, it's them. As we saw the truckers in Canada, all their stuff taken away from them. Some people clapped, but people like me saw that as authoritarian and horrible in its practice. And not something that should be ever replicated. Instead, you saw people in our own government clapping it on. As if it was a means in which maybe one day America should be. And so I kept seeing all this stuff about Russia, and it kept reminding me of the truckers. And I know it's like almost a silly comparison because one person is actually doing terrible war crimes, whether confirmed or not confirmed, but they're horrible acts, and war is a horrible and it is hell. But our government is so quick to make an enemy out of anybody. They love the idea of an enemy. They love the idea of the other. Then they can create a power dynamic, a power structure in which you fall into. And they're doing it right now. As I've watched this unfold this weekend, as people were talking about Tucker Carlson like he's some pro-Putin warmongering freak, as opposed to, you know, it's always people that talk about shows like Joe Rogan and stuff like that actually don't ever listen. They'll take clips out of context, or they'll just take what somebody else says and then they'll make it their own statement as if it's fact that way. If you just take somebody else's statement, well, it has to be true. And so many of our news stories do that too. They take another person's news segment, news story, and they make it their own. But I kept saying that. I kept banging the drum of saying, watch, they'll use this on you. They'll use the same rhetoric. They'll use the same language to one day use it on you. And what happens today is that this story kind of unfolded. As yesterday, Mitt Romney comes out and tweets out, Tulsi Gabbard is parroting false Russian propaganda. Her treasonous lies may well cost lives. Now, that kind of rhymes and it kind of makes you laugh and giggle when you hear it said. Treasonous lies may cost lives. But what happens to treasonous people? Well, back in the day, they were, hung. They were killed. Treason is a huge statement, especially somebody like him. Somebody like Mitt Romney who dodged Vietnam. No big deal there. I'm not going to bring that up. But he comes out against this, and many Democrats are also clapping his quote-unquote bravery for standing up for freedom, Ukraine, or as Nancy Pelosi calls it, Ukraine Slava. So that came out. And then Tulsi Gabbard comes out with a response. And here's her response. Let's listen to this because I think you need to hear it as well as me. Here is Tulsi Gabbard's response to Mitt Romney making that horrible accusation. Because, this is what our politicians do nowadays. They don't actually fact check anything or look at the information or try to find out more information. They just take what somebody else says and they just repeat it verbatim. Because we're not allowed to think anymore. We're not allowed to have a voice anymore. We just say things. So here's Tulsi Gabbard's response.
Me a treasonous liar simply for stating the fact that there are over 25 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine, which, if breached, would release and spread deadly pathogens across the United States and the world, and therefore they must be secured so that we can prevent any new pandemics from occurring. Now, bizarrely, you claim that securing these labs, or even calling for securing these labs, is treasonous and will lead to a loss of life, when the exact opposite is obviously true. The spread of pathogens is what will cause the loss of life, not the prevention of such a spread. So, Senator Romney, please provide evidence that what I've said is not true and treasonous. And if you cannot, you should do the honorable thing. Apologize. Resign from the U.S. Senate. Evidence of the existence of these biolabs in Ukraine, their vulnerability, and therefore the need to take immediate action to secure them is beyond dispute. Just the other day, the State Department's Victoria Nuland acknowledged that these labs that contain dangerous pathogens exist in Ukraine in her testimony to the U.S. Senate.
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So
this is Victoria Nuland. This isn't some conspiracy theorist on Infowars.com or whatever thing you want to dismiss out of the gate. This is Victoria Nuland. You should look her up and know her well. This isn't some fake propaganda thing as these multimedia networks are all promoting and saying at the same time. Because typical as corporate media, once they latch onto a narrative, they don't care if it's wrong. They just double down no matter what.
We are working with the Ukrainians on how they can prevent any of those research materials from falling into the hands of Russian forces should they approach.
In a Pentagon fact sheet dated March 11th, there are numerous statements that both directly and indirectly confirm the existence of these biolabs. The United States, through BTRP, has invested approximately $200 million in Ukraine since 2005, supporting 46 Ukrainian laboratories, health facilities, and diagnostic sites. On CBS Face the Nation on March 13th, CBS national security correspondent David Martin said that he'd spoken to a Pentagon official just that morning who told him they're concerned about the existence of these biolabs in Ukraine.
The concern is that the Russians will seize one of these biomedical research facilities that Ukraine has.
This is CBS Face the Nation. This isn't some weird website. This isn't me. This isn't like some independent person trying to start a podcast. This is real stuff. Regardless of what you say about CBS communist broadcasting systems. But again, corroborating everything Tulsi has said, that Mitt Romney is claiming to be treasonous.
That's where they do research on deadly pathogens like botulism and anthrax, seize one of those facilities, weaponize the pathogen, and then blame it on Ukraine and the U.S., because the U.S. has been providing support for some of the research being done in those facilities.
And we all saw that being propped up everywhere the last 2 weeks, because it was being discussed as, oh, some people on one side was saying, well, there's the U.S. creating a narrative in order to engage with troops and stuff like that. So they were like, oh, the U.S. is creating a narrative saying Putin is going to release this stuff. And then the other people were saying these are just biolabs. These are old Soviet style. They're 20 years old, and they're United States and Ukraine have taken 20 years in order to destroy a laboratory, which is the most idiotic statement ever. But, you know, that's what happens with this kind of propaganda, this kind of quote-unquote information. It doesn't matter if it's factual or true. You just say it because you're told to say it. But here's Tulsi as she continues.
Now, in April of 2020, in refuting Russia's accusations that the U.S. was using biolabs in Ukraine to develop biological weapons, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine acknowledged that there are U.S.-funded labs in Ukraine working with pathogens for vaccines and other peaceful purposes. In a CNN fact check on March 10th, 2022, there are U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine. That much is true.
She's like absolutely destroying them. But again, I'm going to get to my main point of all this because I think she's missing. I think she assumes the best out of people, which I love that about her, but I also know our politics and the temperament of our politicians in today's world. I never want to assume they have the best intentions. They know exactly what they're doing and what they're saying and what they're doing. I know people like to credit like Democrats or Republicans are just idiots or something like that. No. They're not idiots. They know what they're doing, and they're saying what they're saying, and what they are saying might come off as idiotic. They know what they're doing.
Furthermore, according to the DoD, there are 2 biolabs in Ukraine that have been under Russian control for quite some time. Russia illegally took possession of 2 Ukrainian-owned laboratories that BTRP upgraded in 2014 and continues to deny Ukrainian access to these facilities. So, Senator Romney, you have a choice. Out of pride, continue to deny the truth, or admit that you're wrong, apologize, and resign. Aloha. And remember that without the truth, we can be neither safe nor free.
Without the truth, we can be neither safe nor free. Ooh, the aloha at the end. I'm just a mainlander. I don't understand what the whole aloha stuff is. But again, Mitt Romney come out and said that this is treasonous. They're creating a narrative like they've done since day one. You can be against the COVID vaccine. You can say, I don't want to take it, and they call you anti-vax. And this is where we get to our special mouthpieces, because they say the thing that all those leftists are thinking and liberals are thinking. We get to the freaking View. Now, everyone says the View is full of idiots, and I don't want to dispute that or argue that fact or that opinion, despite what you might believe. But I think they say things that maybe they shouldn't say out loud. And again, so I went on a rant all last week of be careful. Do not clap all these businesses, credit card companies, Swift and all that stuff being so willing to take up people's property and things for what they feel is a moral and just cause. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying be careful, because we saw the same actions towards the Canadian truckers. It was like the GoFundMe. They seized that. They took over people's businesses. They took people's cars and stuff like that. They took their identity. They allowed them out everywhere. So then we get to the View. And the View comes out and says what probably people like Mitt Romney, Lindsey Graham, some people on CBS, all the people on the left are all thinking. All these people have been creating this narrative that if you are anti-war, you're against the war, all of a sudden you're pro-freaking Putin, and then ergo you're pro like Stalin, or all kinds of idiotic statements have been said. But here's the View right now.
And look, but I think that's an incredibly relevant question. Yeah. And I think DOJ, in the same way that it is setting up a task force to investigate oligarchs, should look into people who are Russian propagandists and shilling for Putin. That's being, if you are a foreign asset.
shilling for Putin, putting up, saying Putin's doing good stuff. Or is that woman that was that I have on my show a couple last week saying Russia's not invading, they're just doing an exercise. These are the type of people who she's talking about, shilling, lying, spreading misinformation, things that they think people on the right are doing, or people that are just against going to war. And she continues.
To a dictator, it should be investigated. In fact, I remember when Tulsi Gabbard, and I even hate that we're discussing it because I think to myself, who is this woman? She's she's no longer in Congress. She's a failed presidential candidate.
Who absolutely wrecked Kamala Harris. Let's not forget that. Ever. And Kamala's doing a great job in Poland, by the way. I think Kamala is doing equally as good of a job at Poland as she's done at the border.
She only practically exists on Twitter, and the fact that we're giving her oxygen is what makes her relevant, that we're talking about her on Hot Topics. But on the other hand, how do you not call...
Yeah, The View is what makes Tulsi Gabbard relevant. The fact that The View is having a conversation about Tulsi Gabbard, it's keeping Tulsi Gabbard in the know.
Out something that is repeating false Russian propaganda that has been brought down.
They used to arrest people for doing stuff like this. If they thought you were colluding with a Russian agent, if they thought you were putting out information or taking information and handing over to Russia, they used to actually investigate stuff like this. And I guess now, there seems to be no bars, and people are not being told to hate Putin. Putin doesn't need a reason to be hated. It's pretty much clear.
He started a war.
He started an unnecessary war
This is kind
that
of
nobody
like,
wanted.
isn't this contributing to the death?
All and look,
We used to arrest people like this. We used to get rid of people like this. People of dissenting opinions. People that argue with the state. People that don't believe the narrative that is pushed down your throat regardless of any factual information put forth. They've been doing this for a very long time. They hate anyone that spreads information that might lead to them looking bad in any way or capacity. So Tulsi Gabbard coming out and rebuking everything that Mitt Romney thinks about her, she's missing the point. Tulsi Gabbard is now in a category. They put her in a category, and they don't care about the facts. They don't care about any information you give them. She is now in a category like many people like you and me. If you have any dissenting opinion whatsoever, you are now the other, and you should be investigated. You should be put in jail. Maybe we could put you in some kind of camp and maybe re-educate you in any capacity, because that's what's going on right now. If you don't agree with the state, they see you as a traitor. Period. You can't have any opinion that's different than somebody like an Adam Kinzinger or a Mitt Romney. And to having a different opinion, you are now the other, and you should be thrown in a camp. And that's my initial thoughts of this week, because it's insane, all the stuff they're going to. All right. Now, let's get into some news. I want to see what's going on before we jump into some things. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Get in the chat. Tell me how you're feeling. I'm currently live on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and I can't think of everything. But here's some fun news. Blue Origin just announced the people that are going to the moon. Yeah, people like Mark Hagel, Dr. George Neufeld, I don't know, people like this. But then we have freaking Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson is going to the moon. Oh, he takes Kanye's wife, and now he goes to the moon. That sounds about right, doesn't it? God. We live in a crazy world. Anyways. Next story. Okay. This story I'm freaking pumped up about, and I can't believe it's finally happening. I'm so glad that Rand Paul has has his dukes up for Fauci. Rand Paul introduces an amendment that will oust Dr. Fauci for good. Senator Ron Paul introduced a measure on Monday that would eliminate the position held by Dr. Anthony Fauci as the head director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. Paul's amendment, designed to take central power away from the head of the organization, that would divide NIAID into 3 district research facilities. Paul's amendment would recognize NIAID by breaking it down into 3 separate national research institutes with their own director, including National Institute of Allergic Defense. Now, I think this is all great and good. And the big thing is that Fauci would be ousted. I'm sure somebody else will get in some of these positions and just continue to make it what it is. But I love the fact that there's potential to never see Fauci ever again. Let us pray. Shout out to Rand Paul for doing something that most Republicans don't have the cojones to do. Let's check some of the live news right now, see if anything is going on that we need to see.
3-0. Georgia's Jack.
All right, talking about soccer, as much as I love soccer.
Police say the suspect shot another person less than a mile away. Investigators believe he could be the same gunman wanted in 3 other incidents in Washington, D.C. earlier this month. So far, shooting 5 homeless people, killing 2.
Leave these people alone. Like, they're going through their own struggles, and it's unfortunate that they're in the situation that they are.
The attacks playing out amid a homelessness crisis that housing officials say was worsened by the pandemic. Several weeks ago, New York leaders began enforcing a zero-tolerance policy for people sleeping on the subway, a move aimed at cutting back on crime in the nation's most robust public transit system, up more than 70% from this time last year.
But critics say there aren't enough accessible housing options in the city, so pushing homeless people out of the subway is pushing them into even more vulnerable situations.
Like jail?
A society that meets people's basic needs, and starting with housing and including mental health care for people who need it, will be a safer society.
Cities searching for solutions as the threat against the homeless grows more imminent.
And Emily Aketa joins us now from here in 30 Rock. So do they suspect that there might be even more victims than we already know about?
Kate, unfortunately, there is still the possibility that there could be more victims when you consider the fact that...
Of course there is. I'll see what else is going on. As much as I love New York news, which I don't. Let's see. Oh, there's Russian. Look at this.
यूपी की बाजी ये उदासी कुर्सी के बिना ही हो गए वापसी 5 साल तक नजर न आना यहाँ.
What is that? Indian news is so crazy. I love it.
That we take this data and we start to really understand the whys of how it's happening so that we can feed that back to the broader scientific community and eventually the policymakers.
As the region changes from white to blue, it will be more accessible for not only shipping, tourism, and resource development, but it is also putting Russian forces even closer to U.S. borders. Out here, equipment and endurance is put to the test. The Navy, along with civilian scientists and engineers, set up camp on an ice floe 160 miles away from land.
They're going to take us over to ice camp over there. They call it Ice Camp Queenfish to honor the first ever submarine to operate under the ice.
This right here is our logistics tent.
Underneath the ice, Navy divers and 2 American submarines, the Pasadena and Illinois, train in launching torpedoes, along with finding and evading enemy subs.
We're an Arctic nation. It's very important for us to operate up here. There's a lot of people who'd like to hide from the U.S. submarine force. I just say they're not very successful.
Swimming through icy waters, divers retrieve each torpedo and bring it back for data collection, learning how to better locate a target in this inhospitable environment.
We're going to deploy the divers and go from that particular angle directly to the torpedo. The biggest challenge would be determining how much weight the recovery team is going to deploy inside the water.
That's very cool.
Taking a helicopter from camp further onto the ice, we embarked on the USS Pasadena.
So here it is. That's the sail.
Allowing it to punch up through the Arctic ice as thick as 5 feet or more.
Welcome aboard. Yeah, all right. Let's go.
Ice columns plunge deep into the ocean, so the Pasadena has to dive at least 150 feet before it can move forward. Careful helmsmanship under the ice canopy is key.
To the launch cycle app group.
The submarine is relegated to internal navigation systems because they can't surface daily to get GPS coordinates.
Satellite signal doesn't travel through the water. So what we do is we use a system of lasers, accelerometers, and other equipment to keep track of where the ship has moved since the last time it had a GPS fix.
The Pasadena can be equipped with up to 20 torpedoes. Launch accuracy in this frigid water can put a strain on vessels' firepower and sonar equipment.
We're putting out a lot of noise in the water that's all just bouncing off these keels, and it gets really confusing to us and to the weapons. That's one of the biggest challenges we have, of kind of making sense of all the information and picking out the 1-2 pieces that makes the most sense to operate the ship.
For successful undersea warfare in this dangerous environment, they have to constantly adapt their tactics. In this ice-picking exercise, something they had never done before, they successfully lodge and hold the 350-foot submarine just under the ice, turn off the engines, and essentially...
It's like they're mandatory to have mustaches. Mika, what up? Hey, Derek, how are things? Good to see you out, saying some reality with folks. Hey, I appreciate that. Are you ready for all this insanity? I am. I just started my show with like a 30-minute talk about... I just went off on what I was like ranting on last Friday about how they're starting to turn the focus to American citizens for having dissenting opinions right now. And it's just so freaking weird. The world is crazy, man. Are we going to make it to the end of the year?
Now from Anchorage, Alaska. And Kana, you're back from that remarkable access to how the Navy is training. You spent 3 days with them. And
let's see what else is going on. This rush. That Indian News Network is my favorite. All right. I'm going to check out this real quick. So you need to keep an eye on what's going on with COVID in China. I don't really know what's going on, so here's the story.
Cases continue to fall across the U.S., but it is a different story overseas. A surge of new infections.
I'm seeing like crazy videos out of China again. I don't know if it's a propaganda or what, but we need to keep an eye on it.
In China is prompting another round of lockdowns in some cities, and the World Health Organization is warning the war in Ukraine could worsen the pandemic. CBS's Danya Backus shows us what other countries are dealing with.
People are lining up for COVID tests in northeast China's Jilin province as the area experiences its largest outbreak since the pandemic started. The Omicron variant is fueling the spike, forcing the population of 9 million into lockdown. The parts of Beijing are also under lockdown.
I've seen like tons of stuff where people are just assuming that they just never experienced herd immunity and now they're finally experiencing it. I don't really know. Is it a new variant or something that people are going to prop up this summer or next winter? I think we'll find out soon.
So under lockdown. This shop owner said she's not worried because she's boosted and said as long as people are cautious, there's no need to be scared. The World Health Organization says the war in Ukraine could make the pandemic worse as
God, I hate words like could. I could leave my house and get run over by a train. That could happen.
People flee and fan across Europe. As the planet passed the 2-year mark of the pandemic last week, the organization's head issued a warning.
The pandemic is far from over, and it will not be over anywhere until it's over everywhere.
Here in the U.S., cases of COVID
Remember us? Remember when you used to love watching us?
Have plunged to the lowest level in 8 months. Today, California lifted its mandatory mask requirement in schools, leaving the decision to local districts.
I mean, we gotta live life like, we gotta go on.
98%.
Oh man, I feel that so hard, so deep within my soul. Man, we gotta go on. Good for her.
Of Americans are now living in low or medium COVID risk areas.
Can we talk about how like the COVID risk level like flipped overnight? Just kidding. That's misinformation.
And more than 81% are vaccinated with at least 1 dose. On Sunday, the CEO of vaccine maker Pfizer said on Face the Nation that a 4th dose is necessary.
The protection what you're...
The CEO of Pfizer says that? I don't trust my doctor. I trust this guy.
Getting from the 3rd, it is good enough. Actually quite good for hospitalizations and deaths. It's not that good against infections, but doesn't last very long.
Former President Obama tweeted that he's tested positive.
Can we stop telling everyone? When I had COVID, I told no one. I didn't even really tell my family. I just had it, and I hung out at home for a while, and that's That's about it.
And is experiencing a scratchy throat but is feeling fine. Michelle Obama tested negative. Obama is urging Americans to get vaccinated if they haven't already.
Hi, content creators.
I love that. It's like everyone that gets COVID immediately, especially if they're a higher up or a blue check mark, feel that the need to say, I have COVID, but also make sure you should get the shot. It's like a verbatim tweet. All right, next story. See what else is going on. Oh, God. I'll save that later, and I'll save that one a little later. Oh, these stories are still, like, amazing me, because I don't know what to think about it. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. This is about American Marines, U.S. citizens going and fighting for Ukraine. Like, I've seen stories of, like, British people, Australian, Mexican people. I've seen people from all kinds of different countries, but the fact that the United States is getting their hands dipped in this a little bit, it just weirds me out, and I think it doesn't end well.
One of the bloodiest wars in Europe since World War II is drawing thousands of foreigners to join the fight. Cavi, he goes by his military call sign, tells us he is a Canadian and veteran of the war in Afghanistan.
When Putin rattled the nuclear saber, he threatened the whole world with fire. Canada's right in between the U.S. and Russia. It's where all these missiles that he's threatening with are going to be flying over. So that's what brings me here.
Cavi is far from alone.
There is more than 20,000 of this military serving all over the Ukraine.
Roman, he asked, we don't...
More than 20,000? I don't know if that's propaganda just to hype it up a little bit, but 20,000? Even if it's 10,000.
Don't show his face for his security. Vets the backgrounds of all foreign volunteers.
Many of them had a very good experience, even in hotspots. Serving in hotspots. So, but now, maybe with nowadays, there are less of these experienced soldiers, and many of them are more volunteers. They had some military experience serving in a peacetime.
Their resumes range from combat experience to no military training at all. Ryan, a 25-year-old from Minnesota, says he served 2 years with the Marines in Okinawa, Japan.
I'm a U.S. Marine. If I have to die to help these people, I will.
Oscar from Sweden has no formal military training.
We're here to help people.
Whoa, Oscar is a big boy.
Hopefully, it's going to be over even before we reach the front, before we even need to fire a bullet or save someone with medical resources, you know? That's the best for everyone, but if that's what it comes to, we'll be there.
David, 33, from Canada, says he can help fix tires to keep Ukrainian military vehicles on the road.
If it's black and round and made out of rubber, I can fix it. And one of the most important things of the gears of war is keeping it moving.
All volunteers get at least some training, but while some can contribute on the battlefield, others may never see combat.
Some of them don't need this training, and some do. And some as I am being told by the military, some of them remain there in this unit, in this military unit, because they are not apt to this military service, and they can't go to the war.
So a bunch of people are coming to fight with Ukraine that don't even deserve to be fighting, and yet they're so desperate. I wonder how bad some of these people are. They're turning away. It's like, no, dude, we don't want you, man.
Additional concern, the risks of deploying and arming.
Mika says, if it's black and round and made out of rubber, I can fix it. What? I know. I should have yelled, that's what she said. I don't know why I did, and I apologize.
Thousands of foreign fighters around the country.
They might be dangerous.
I should do better.
Such people are always dangerous, but we try to check them. We try to check their biography. We try to check their pastes as far as we can do it.
One definite and urgent need for the Ukrainian military are volunteers with combat medical experience. That's what brought Sky Barkley, a U.S. Marine and missionary, to Ukraine, along with 6 other Americans.
We enrolled after 9/11, imagining, I suppose, the war was going to be.
How old was that guy? How old is that guy cleaning in the sink? He looks like he's about 55 or so. He's just like, I don't care about my life.
For Americans. You enrolled after 9/11, imagining, I suppose, the war was going to be there. Did you ever imagine yourself witnessing a war in Ukraine, in Europe?
No, and it's totally different. This does not compare to a slow simmering insurgency. It doesn't even compare to what we saw with ISIS, because you're talking about the sheer amount of missiles being launched across the country, the ability of the Russians to reach out across.
Mika says, I mean, where do you find these people? Oh, that's right, Ukrainian crisis. Oh my! How dare you put that on my stream? But seriously, is it? I don't know. It's so weird. I feel like you have to be in a very weird place of life to want to pick up and go fight for people you've never met in your entire life, or you just like the bug or something, or maybe you didn't make it in the military and this is your opportunity or something like that. Like, I don't know. I can't believe our people are going over there and participating in this. I can't either. It's and what does like Russians think of that, What do the Russians think about all these people from all around the world? According to that Ukrainian guy, 20,000 people are fighting with this legion. Like, what do the Russians think about when they see people from other places of the world? I mean, it's an easy propaganda twist too, especially for like people like an RT News to say, oh, America has sent these troops, so therefore we can now do this. So it's just not wise.
Hundreds and hundreds of kilometers and kill from that kind of distance.
Maddie, another member of Sky's medical team, is a travel nurse from Missouri, here to help and willing to put her life on the line to do it, as she's done before.
Now that's cool. Travel nursing, going in and doing hospital stuff. Great. Love that stuff. Doctors Without Borders, whatever. That's cool.
Or in Iraq.
Yeah, it worries me a little.
Russia does think that.
A little bit, but I just have a heart for these people. Like, I just really want to help them.
Yeah, I fully support this. If you know medical stuff and you work in a hospital and maybe you have some wartime experience, especially with that, as far as like trauma and urgent care, cool.
I don't see my life more valuable than their life.
Ukrainian officials make clear this is not a calling for adventurers or weekend warriors.
Because that's what it seems like, doesn't it?
It is service against a massive and ruthless invading army. And thousands have already answered the call.
Yeah, apparently 20,000 have answered the call.
The training that the Ukrainian military is able to offer foreign volunteers is limited. After all, the war is already underway on Ukrainian soil. They will get 3 to 14 days of basic training.
Oh, 3 to 14 days. Oh, God. I saw some of these early volunteers a couple weeks ago, and some people were showing up with like a half-packed backpack, not even a winter coat. You're just like, do you know where you are?
And it's not a short-term commitment. Those members who come to fight, they're asked to sign on for a year commitment in Ukraine.
A year commitment? Are they getting paid? Or are you just committing a year for funsies?
And joining us now is Miro Popovich. He's a film student and dual U.S.
It's like you commit for a year, you get the Ukraine wife or a Russian wife, depending on who wins.
Ukrainian citizen who is fighting against Russian forces in Kyiv.
I'll behave. Okay. I don't care. You can say whatever you want, Mika. These folks don't realize how they are being had. I know. I agree. I think Americans are going for the medical assistant. Yeah, okay. But as fighters decreases our supply. Yeah. I don't think these are actual warriors per se. These are like retired or maybe never made it kind of people that are here for the adventure, but maybe, can run a 12-minute mile.
Miro, it is great to see you. We last spoke to you on Wednesday, and I'm wondering, what has changed here in the last few days since we were last able to speak?
Yes, good to see me.
What changed is, because I've just heard you guys talk that the Ukrainian military pushing Russians away. And yes, that is the case. I mean, they can't really come too close to Kiev. They're sort of on the outskirts, and our military, our army and National Guard, they're doing really well. Like, I am surprised and I'm proud.
You were surprised and proud. You were expecting that they might be in Kyiv, which could certainly change your role.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, as we talked last time, my job is, and my unit's job is to help and operate when they come too close to Kiev, but we didn't have a chance yet. And that's great. I think that's fantastic.
So you've been, just to be clear, you've been kind of waiting for the action and you haven't seen it yet.
No, well, we still, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No, go on.
We still have
Tell
action.
me what you've seen.
Yeah, we still have action.
Action. I love that they call it action. Like, you mean I almost died and then I had to fight for my life to survive? Yeah, we can call it action. Also, what's that little symbol on his chest? They're not really showing the whole thing.
And we still have action. Our main priority right now is to get ready for assault that might happen, and humanitarian missions. I mean, there's a lot of humanitarian, a lot of medicine and clothing and food that's coming from Europe and U.S. to Ukraine, and it has to be delivered, to our military, to our National Guard, to our bomb shelters, to hospitals. And, I've been deputized. So right now we're helping police to deliver all those goods.
You see her, she's like, I love that.
And of course, to get ready for combat. And the third, and I think one of the most important tasks is to identify saboteurs. There's a lot of saboteurs.
Don't forget, some of the saboteurs they accidentally identified wrongly and killed. Push that story under the rug, of course.
Here, like sleeping agents, I know it sounds like a movie stuff, but this is actually true.
A
A lot of Russian, sleeping agents, what they do is they guide missiles, and that's not very good,
That they
So,
can,
yeah, we
they
do
can
that too.
locate, they can give them locations of what to hit. And have you
Yeah, you put a little laser on a building.
Yes,
have you
exactly.
encountered, you've personally
I played video games.
encountered Russian saboteurs?
Personally, we have arrested somebody. Yes, I don't know if they are Russian saboteurs or not. Our job is to arrest them, and then the other government officials, they take care of interrogations.
Oh my God. So you just arrest people without knowing for sure? Great.
And stuff like that. We don't do that. No, we just
Those upper government people, they take care of them. Oh God.
stop somebody who's suspicious, and we just give them, pass them to other authorities that do their thing. We are. I mean, it's not. I don't have an authority to identify whether they real agents or they just stupid enough to walk around government buildings and take videos.
Yeah. And so what have you been ordered to do if Russians advance into the city? If they're coming into the streets, into the urban area, what are you preparing to do?
We're going to give them an urban warfare. I mean, it's like a guerrilla style warfare. We're going to help our military fight. Yes, we are ready. We have a lot of weapons. We are officially deputized. We're not just, some group of civilian people. So we have an authority. We have a lot of veterans that are capable of fighting. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to help them, and we're going to give everything. I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen. But when the day comes, we're going to do whatever we can.
You served in the U.S. Army. You served in Afghanistan. What are you taking from those lessons learned there and
Doing what? How old is this kid?
to this?
What am I taking is, well, first of all, as I think I said last time, stress, to operate under stress is the most important thing that you can learn in the military. And second of all, discipline. Even if you're in your civilian unit, you have to be disciplined, because discipline saves, and discipline gives you the success that you need. And it's one of the most important things in life too, by the way.
Certainly true.
Yeah, this is CNN. This is just a clip.
Hero, and I suppose I should call you Officer Popovich now that you have been deputized, but
Officer Popovich.
I hope that we.
God. What a crazy story. All these American people going over there. I just don't know what to think of it. Please let me know what you guys think. I just... a bunch of Americans start dying due to Russian missiles. I mean, we just had that reporter getting injured today, and then the New York Times guy who didn't work for New York Times, that used to work for New York Times. Like, I'm just... Very, very, very messy situation. War as hell. Don't jump on a plane to fight unless you absolutely know for sure. Mika, you think it's bullshit? I do too. That's crazy. Oh, God. Speaking of crazy, freaking Lindsey Graham. I want to just check the live news, see what else is going on. Death and mayhem for what? Yeah, I don't know.
Saying horrible distortions of.
All right, talking about that. Let's check on our Indian news.
Who's too old to leave? Carrying what little she can, she's heading west.
I'm obsessed with this this Indian news site.
Home for her family.
I mean, it looks like a streamer put this together, doesn't it?
She had not slept in 4 days. Agnieszka is going back to her job in Warsaw after volunteering at the border. She was mostly greeting refugees.
For example, yesterday I saw a woman with her grandson and she was crying, so I sat upon to her and we were talking a little bit. I don't know Ukrainian language, but it's similar to Polish language, so she was talking about her family, her husband, her home that she has left now. So the support, emotional support, is something that I think they need the most.
If the war continues, she says more volunteers will need to go to the border. Something as simple as a warm welcome at Poland's door can make those forced out of their country feel more at home. 2-year-old Tamur.
It's crazy. Not too long ago, people were talking smack about Poland. Now they love it. All right, I'm going to hear this freaking insane person talk. Oh, here's Lindsey Graham.
We believe that China, in fact, was aware before the invasion took place that Vladimir Putin was planning something. We also are.
Didn't you love all the news agencies coming out today talking about we're really concerned about how Russia is falling into China's lap right now? Like, you're concerned? We've all been saying this for weeks, if not months now. And now you're like, yes, this is not a good idea. Well, you pushed them to it.
Are watching
what do you think was going to happen?
To see the extent to which China actually does provide any form of support.
Well, you got the president's national security advisor. He's going to meet with his Chinese counterpart later today in Rome. As we learn, Russia is reportedly asking China for military and financial help in its invasion against Ukraine. Here's the reaction. Air Force vet and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham.
There are a few people that make me just hate the Republican Party more than Lindsey Graham. It's just,
Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so the story is that Russia is asking China, hey, we need money.
Why don't you go on Tucker Carlson? You freaking...
Because the sanctions are hurting us and we need stuff because we've run out. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's good news for the good guys. Like Jake Sullivan, I think he's surprised that China's helping. I'm not. So there's two things going on that I think are bad news for Putin. He's having to declare virtual martial law at home.
Martial.
He's closed down the internet. The boycott in Russia is really working. So he's having a problem with his own people. And now he's going to China to beg for help from them. So if we'll just see this thing through, I think we'll be...
So China and Russia will become best friends. I don't think he realizes. It's like, Lindsey, do you understand what you're saying?
In good shape. We need to...
I don't see this as good shape, but continue.
And the MiG fighters, Amy Klobuchar said over the weekend, a Democrat from Minnesota, that don't rule out that we will eventually send the MiGs into the Ukraine.
A Democrat? what does that change anything? They want war just as much as you, Lindsay.
If we could reverse course, Steve, and actually send the fighters in, that would be a morale booster for the Ukrainians, and it would hurt Putin because it shows that we're determined to stay in this fight. So China will be all in. China is the equivalent of Germany in the World War II analogy, and Russia is sort of like Italy, and the Ukrainians are just awesome. That's all I can say. Awesome people.
So World War III will look like Russia and China versus us and NATO. Or just, yeah, some of this language is just so flippant. Just whatever. This is so good. We'll send MiGs. Maybe we'll send them some nukes. Maybe we'll send them some special forces, get it on the ground. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Who cares?
They are awesome. Senator, what do you make, though? Okay, so Jake Sullivan's going to sit down with China today, and he's going to say, hey, we don't
What could go wrong?
Yeah. He's going to say, hey, we don't like the fact that you've teamed up with Russia. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure you've seen these stories that Mr. Xi, the president of China, feels like he's aligned himself with Putin, and now he's getting some reputational damage because Putin is blowing it. Putin has said, hey, I can take the country in 2 days. Here we are more than 2 weeks later, and it is not going well for him. Do you think Mr. Xi, there is something to that? He regrets aligning himself with Putin at this stage?
What? These people are paid for this?
No, not really, because they have no friends. I mean, the only problem he has with Putin is that he's
China is a friend to everyone in need.
Ineffective. He doesn't have a problem with the fact that Putin's murdering people on an industrial scale, that he's a war criminal. The only problem he has is just taking so long. So China's all in with Russia. They have very few friends on the planet. So what I propose we do is, if in fact the Chinese are helping arm Russia and providing assistance to get around international sanctions, that we put secondary sanctions on China, that we go after anybody and everybody who tries to prop up the war criminal Putin. And if we don't do that, then I think we're missing an opportunity to further isolate Russia and finally, in my lifetime, since Trump left anyway, stand up to China.
Sure. But sanctions against China would be tough because we get so much stuff from them.
We're going to have to recalculate who we are in terms of our trading relationships. If Russia is able to dismember the democracy in the Ukraine, that's a death sentence for Taiwan. Yeah. She is watching closely how much will we have, how much determination we have. You know, the Biden administration expected the Ukrainians to fold in about 3 or 4 days. They're surprised it's taken this long. Right. I think Ukrainians can win. Victory for Ukraine. What are we not doing? Let's send in the MiGs. Let's send in all the Soviet era anti-aircraft missile systems that exist in former Eastern Bloc countries. Let's increase the capability of the Ukraine to defend itself. And let's start telling China, if you pick sides and you pick Putin, the war criminal, over world order, then you're gonna have a tough time trading in the free world.
Right. Speaking of missiles, there was a missile strike.
Do you not understand how much stuff we get from China, you freaking idiot?
Near the U.S. consulate in the country of Iraq yesterday. And now Iran says, yeah, those are ours. What are they doing?
They're trying to probably be a proxy of Russia. Russia's got itself in a bad spot here. The Ukrainian people are fighting like tigers. The Russian people are beginning to become unruly. The only people they got to help is China. And if we put...
Based on what information? We're just saying that they're unruly? No, you don't have to provide any facts anymore in real world. You just say things with nothing backed up, and people just believe it.
Pressure on China, we can break that nexus. I would imagine that the Russians probably told the Iranians it would be helpful to us if you would open up a new front by attacking into Iraq and make America wonder about what's next. Well, what do I want to do? I want to open up a new front. I want to really go hard on military assistance for Ukraine. If there's a use of chemical weapons, that's time for a no-fly zone. Again, if we don't get Ukraine right...
Lindsey Graham is a problem. I mean, he's always been a problem, but he's just psychotic. All right, here's Here's something on gases that people aren't paying attention to.
Carl's driven for Uber for the last 7 years.
I'm thinking of giving up.
With the average price for a gallon of regular gas in this city now more expensive, $4.46, than at any other time in history, Carl estimates he and other rideshare and taxi drivers now take home 10 to 20% less in profit every single day.
A lot less, compared to before.
You have to work. I have to pay bills. It's so bad, I just filled up my gas this morning, and it's like $80.
Godfred and Serge here have driven New York City yellow cabs for a combined 54 years and could not recall any other period even reminiscent of the last 2 weeks of gas prices starting to more closely resemble credit scores.
It's so bad that I can't even describe how I've never seen something like this.
While we're driving, I'm looking for a cheaper gas station.
Allison here reminds us taxi and Uber drivers like her must also burn gas just looking for fares, something she's now trying to do less of, instead parking somewhere busy and letting the passengers come to her.
Ridiculous.
God.
Gas prices are bad now and prices are bad now, but wait in a month. See how it reflects on everything you buy in the grocery store. All right. Get a little refresher of that. I got like a bunch of... Oh, I wanted to see this. Oh, what does Adam have to say? This guy's such a dweeb. Let's check on the live news first. Hey, DEFCON. Slava Ukrainia? All right, let's watch this freaking Adam Kensinger clip. First of all, I just don't take this man very seriously as a human being whatsoever.
I got an invitation to do Tucker Carlson's show tonight.
And you decided not to because you're weak?
And there's no way I'll go on his show for a number of reasons.
Thanks for proving my point.
But first, let me state that his insistence that the West was provoking war with Putin, his spreading lies about biolabs,
that is factually there,
and his continued spewing of conspiracy theories are nothing but complete evil. His show is full of Russian propaganda and not news. And I will...
Oh my God. Okay. I feel like we need to break this down. Adam Kensinger is part of the problem. He's just a pawn. He just says whatever he's supposed to say in order for people to like him. So New York Times is writing an article about him. They write about how amazing he is and how he's like a real Republican and how Republicans used to be back in the good old days, back when they stood for something. Now they're just anti-vax, pro-Putin fart faces.
I got an invitation to do Tucker Carlson's show tonight.
And I decided not to because I was wiping the tears from my eyes from the last time he made fun of me.
And there's no way I'll go on his show for a number of reasons.
Because he would absolutely destroy me in an argument.
But first, let me state that his insistence that the West was provoking war with Putin, his spreading lies about biolabs, and his...
God, I'm so sick of people saying that things are lies when they've been proven to be true. Now, whether it's totally U.S. funded and all that, we can get into those kind of conversations. But to say that they're not even there, it's a conspiracy. It didn't start at the Wuhan lab. Conspiracy.
Continued spewing of conspiracy theories are nothing but...
He's basically Alex Jones. We should only allow him on InfoWars.
Complete evil.
He's complete evil. Imagine being a grown adult man and having another man with a different opinion other than yourself and being like, that's just evil.
Show is full of Russian propaganda and not news.
You know when he starts like nailing talking points? His show is full of Russian propaganda and not news. Bada bing, bada boom. You see what I did there? I said it like this. And then I went like that. And then it created some emphasis on what I was saying. His show is full of Russian propaganda. It's not news. In your face.
His show is full of Russian propaganda and not news. And I will not validate his show by making an appearance. I do not want to be associated with it in any way.
Same people say that about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan spreading misinformation. And I don't want to go on that show and tell him how he's wrong. Like Sajay Gupta. Because it's only promoting his platform. And that's a problem for me.
And we all know what would happen. And we all know what the goal is.
Yeah, you would get absolutely obliterated to the point you would probably turn off your phone and then run and hide and then do a video like this saying all the things that you wish you would have said that you didn't say because Tucker is basically Putin or Hitler in disguise.
We know the interview would be promoted to get more viewers, to make more money, to further empower his garbage. And let's talk tactics. When Tucker interviews someone
oh my God, here we
passed
go.
away, he interrupts and laughs when he's been caught in a lie. And after the segment's over, he brings on another guest to try to discredit any statement made by the prior guest without counter.
Tucker's one of the few people on the news that actually allows his guests to have a full conversation. It's almost like a podcast, but it's not nearly as close. But it almost feels more genuine than any other. I can't think of any news segment or show that allows his guests to actually have a conversation, even if he doesn't agree with them. But yeah, you can go do your little hit piece or whatever saying that. But at the same time, he goes on everyone else's show. He goes on CNN, but he's too scared to go on Tucker because CNN is like drastically different. In a good way, because they allow you just to spit your nonsense and don't actually challenge you. That's kind of a product of our generation and a lot of people in our culture today. They don't want to be challenged in their views or challenged in their ideology or challenged in the way that they view their life anymore. Because to challenge someone's ideology or their views or their culture or the way they want to go about life is an act of violence. It's just we're just such a silly human being class that gets stuff like this get promoted. And just remember that you and I are logical thinking human beings, that we're not insane.
He's not interested in conversations. He's only interested in himself.
Oh, the irony of that statement. Oh, Adam. God. Sometimes some people truly need a mirror up to themselves, and he's one of them. That's okay, Adam. I'm here for you, buddy.
Interested in himself. And at the end of the day, he'll continue to use his platform to deceive his all too trusting viewers and to further his own sense of power. The situation in Ukraine is serious and the outlook is dire.
Yes.
And this moment requires...
I don't think Tucker is saying otherwise. I think you would be an idiot to say it's not serious and dire.
Serious conversation.
There are people actually being murdered. That is really happening.
Decisive action. Not a self-serving showboat clamoring for more clicks tonight. So rather than validate his...
Yeah, I'm not showboating or clamming for clicks. I know I'm doing this little video of me in my backyard to show how amazing of a human being I am. But it's not about the clicks. Okay? I'm having a serious conversation because I'm a bigger adult and better than Tucker will ever be. Hey, CNN, I'm open for business soon.
His propaganda program. I'm going to use my effort to support the Ukrainian people.
I love how that's like such a grandstand in today's culture. I'm supporting the Ukrainian people. He's basically pro-Putin at this point.
So if you're interested in joining me, please consider donating to the Stand With Ukraine Fund. It's at countryfirst.com, country1st.com. And 100...
Oh, the irony that it's called Country First. What about America? Nah.
Countryfirst.com, country1st.com. And 100% of the money raised will go to humanitarian aid for those still in Ukraine and for those who become refugees. Tucker has made it clear he stands with Putin and his war against freedom.
Oh my God. He stands for Putin and a war against freedom. I haven't seen the Oliver Stone documentary. I've been meaning to watch that. Thank you for bringing that up, Defcon. His war against freedom, the irony after the last year and a half of COVID and forced mandates and stuff like that. We can pretend this is about freedom, sure.
I stand with Ukraine.
Wow, so beautiful, so brave.
Democracy, and the men and women willing to fight and die for their country. Finally, Sophia and I want to offer our prayers for Benjamin Hall, a Fox News reporter injured in Ukraine.
See, this is me putting my hand out and reaching across the aisle. I'm supporting a Fox News reporter. So, this guy, God.
The job they do is dangerous and appreciated. This makes Tucker's position all the more disgusting.
I just can't with this guy. He's foul and disgusting. That's how he ended it. Oh, Adam, you're not a serious human being, dude. But you'll do just fine on CNN's Plus program. You can maybe take over Brian Stelter at some point. You could be the new reliable sources with Adam. And you can have all your guests on and allow them to have this conversation that you claim Tucker doesn't allow to have. But I'm excited about your podcast. You should start it soon. Just go away. DEFCON, is the Oliver Stone documentary, is it that good? I've seen like some clips about talking with Putin and stuff, and I find that really interesting. But I'm curious if it's that. I wish I could stream that live. Are you crying? Okay, let's check the ratios. I gotta reload this because he just posted this not too long ago. We need to see the comments because it's important to me. Are you gonna cry again? Well, I applaud you for your work in January 6th and your support for Ukraine, and where it ends there. Oh my God. Where was your support for the American people? Oh my God. All right, whatever. He's crazy. A few people have recommended it to me. Cool. I wish we could watch it on here live. I'm sure I would get debanned and taken down and all that stuff. Okay, there are some video clips that I want to show. Let's check some of this live news real quick. We already watched that. The Navy.
Rahul, come on. 23 years of experience.
Okay. All right. Everyone relax. So, so Matt Walsh is speaking, and of course Matt Walsh brings his a major group of haters. And here's a protester right here.
I have a sign over here that says, "Fuck Matt Walsh, fuck TPUSA. Talk to us about the sign. Why is this important to you today?"
How old are these people?
Because I think Matt Walsh is an idiot and dangerous to people. And yeah.
Yeah, what a stupid question. Of course he's dangerous. I mean, didn't you see him on Dr. Phil? Danger alert.
That's really all I have to say on that.
Number one thing, Matt.
Is the side of his head shaved like some kind of youth back in the day? I can't think of the name at the top of my head.
Walsh just said that's pissed you off, that made you hold up that sign today.
Oh God, I'd have to go back and look through his Twitter. I know I see shit all the time.
Just give me one. I mean,
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you get it though, right? I mean, it's Matt Walsh. It's Matt Walsh. I mean,
holding the fuck Matt Walsh sign. Just give me one thing.
I mean, I know that Matt Walsh has consistently said that, trans women are not real women, trans men are not real men.
At least she knows. That guy was like, I don't.
It's proven by science that trans women are in fact women, trans men are in fact men. It doesn't have.
I love people when they have an argument and this is how they present it. It's proven by science. Okay, what science?
Women, trans men are in fact men. It doesn't have to do with your born sex. It is that you feel like you are a woman, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to conform to what the
society says. So
Exactly.
you decided that you wanted to identify.
Exactly. Thanks, DEFCON. The science is sciencing. This is science, and so if science is science, then therefore it's science.
As a woman today, is that something that we would label him as? He's a woman at that point.
She's a woman. She's
a woman at that point. Got it.
Thank you.
The correct pronouns. All right. So we've got women. Trans women aren't women. What about you?
Trans women are women.
Well, that Matt Walsh has said that has made us.
She was like so triggered. No, you said that's what Matt said. Relax. I'm not talking.
Hold this sign today. What about you? What does Matt Walsh say?
Let's see. There's a lot of stuff about January 6th. Like, honestly, I get so confused with all these right-wing assholes. It's hard to keep track of who says what, but I know I've seen some stuff he said, and I know I wasn't a fan, so fuck him.
And I tweeted, tell me how to think and I will follow through. It's just like these people. Who's the list of people I'm supposed to hate? And then I'll put them on a list, and then I'll hate them no matter what. I won't actually engage in their ideas or listen to them, hear their side, and maybe try to convince them otherwise, or go to some of these debates and ask a tough question and to maybe change Matt Walsh's mind, because maybe you have something to bring to the equation. Because Matt is the kind of guy, yeah, he's a little forceful and aggressive, and that's his shtick, but he's open to debate. He's open to have a conversation. I love the people that are open to debate are the fascists, and the people that don't want debate and want you to shut down are anti-fascist. Up is down and down is up. And science is science. So, change my mind. How about that? Okay. You see a lot of stories about teachers wanting to groom children and stuff like that, and then you have Elon Amar come out and say this.
That none of us understands the needs of our children the way you do in the classroom every single day.
Yeah, none of us. That's right, parents. You don't know what your child needs as much as a teacher, for God's sakes. That's why you drop them off. There needs to be a reckoning in this country very soon of homeschooling and school choice and stuff like that, because these people believe that. And I've worked in education for a long time, and there are teachers that absolutely believe that they know what's best for your kid more than you know what's best for your own kid. They believe that with all their heart, soul, and mind. They've been telling that, and they tell each other that. So this idea that's like a new concept or a new idea, no, this has always been the key, and it's just conservative parents and people on the right started to wake up, or just logical thinking people started to wake up during the pandemic when the school was shut down. The teachers were forced to share things with the parents. Parents, you need to be engaged in your child's development. And because if you don't become engaged in their development, you get to the point where we're at now. And then you wake up and go, oh crap, what have I done? These people have been this way forever. That's why being in a good school system is paramount if you have children. I mean, you're dropping your kids off into a school with grown adults to teach them things that you'll never teach them, and for them to experience trauma that they'll never experience at home. Remember, most trauma happens for kids, and for a lot of us, most of that trauma happens in schools. So choose well, because they might end up in counseling the rest of their life. Anyways, let's keep going. Go down the list. Oh my God. Okay. Here we go. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I freaking live for. I'm going to take a bite of my rice real quick. Sorry. I apologize. Forgive me. I don't want to be one of those streamers that eat. Those people are noxious. Won't say names. But Here we go. Here's one of the TikTokers that were briefed by the White House. I did one last week, and that guy wasn't too bad, but let's see how she goes. She's one of the dancers, so I got high hopes.
Why is gas so expensive, and why is the United States inflation rate at a 4-time decade high?
Now, when I think of inflation rate, gas prices, I go to my TikTok app, and I look for the best dancer. And I go, what can you tell me that I don't know? As an adult, because, you know, I've done things that she probably has never done, like pay taxes, stuff like that. Or, you know, pay my car insurance, pay a phone bill. DEFCON, this is totally real. I'm sorry. But here we go.
I had the opportunity to ask the White House why gas down the street is $7, and here's what they said.
And here's what they said. And I'm glad they said something because I don't get it. And I'm not going to use things like Google or DuckDuckGo. Not anymore. Screw you. Brave browser or any kind of search engine to figure out this for myself. And I'm not going to cross-check references. I'm not going to use different sources so I'm not just being pushed a narrative down my throat. I'm just going to ask the White House because, I mean, they're the president. They're not going to lie to me.
The obvious reason, we're getting out of a 2-year pandemic. When use goes up, price goes up. But the call was predominantly about Ukraine and Russia, so how does that relate?
Yeah, it's like, what? How does that even relate? It doesn't make any sense. Did she just put her hair down? She just messed her hair?
Russia.
She changed her hair. And I'm going to slap myself for even noticing that.
Russia is one of the top 3 producers of oil, and it is actually their #1 revenue source.
So Russia produces a bunch of oil, and how much oil were we buying from them, and like percentage-wise from everywhere else? I wonder if she'll add that in, because it's a very interesting point that, wow, we don't want to talk about.
Now, with Putin starting this horrific
Wait, did she flip her hair to the other side? And how did I notice it? I'm going to punch myself even harder the next time.
fight between Ukraine and Russia, nobody wants to work with him and do international trade. So, with people being scared of
Okay, did she flip her hair to the other side? What's going on? This is like, I feel like I'm in like a Black Mirror, like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something. Like, what the
war and limited resources, prices are bound to go up as well. For the people who can't pay $7 for a gallon of gas, there's an app called Gas.
Wait. Does this girl make videos and then changes her hairstyle up after every 3 seconds just to make you go, oh, this is a new girl? Oh, this is like, what the frick is going on? I feel like I'm going to get a copyright strike for the video song in the background, but I'm going to keep playing. I don't care.
There's an app called Gas Buddy that shows you the cheapest gas near you, as well as a link.
So she's like, there's nothing they can do. You should just use Gas Buddy, you freaking idiot. Or buy electric, God.
In my bio to donate to the misplaced refugees of Ukraine.
Wow. Now this. I have hope for America because of people like this. She is getting down to the facts of everything going on. Download an app. Get over it. It's Russia's fault. Putin gas hikes. God. Oh. Dude, nice buddy commercial. I know. Seriously. She didn't even dance. That's what I was so mad about. Okay, look. Different hair flips every 5 seconds. So given the hair flips, it kind of tells you she probably stopped and started this video more than a few times. This deep information that we should all get down to the bottom of. Oh. Let's check on the live news first before I go back to a news story. Oh.
5 conflicts covered.
With a widespread attempt to infect citizens with malicious software. Ukrainian authorities have also blamed Russian-allied Belarusian hackers for the
I love good B-roll.
Ukraine's largest state-owned bank
DDoS attack. Daylight savings time. Boring. We do the museum stabbing.
Tom Brady is back.
Tom Brady's back. The GOAT. He'll never die. He'll never go away. The Pete Davidson story. I almost want to watch that because it looks incredible. All right, DEFCON, you choose. Either you and I are going to watch this Janet Yellen video, which is 2 seconds long. We're going to watch Putin's quest for Beijing bailout, North Korea drug smuggling, or Pete Davidson. You choose. The time is ticking. So Pete Davidson, North Korean drug smuggling, Beijing bailout. Oh, Mika, you too. You guys tell me. Pete Davidson. All right. The feud between him and Kanye is so great. All right, here we go. Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson has had enough of Kanye West's antics because...
Speaking of Pete Davidson, I don't know if you guys saw me at the beginning, but he just got confirmed he's on the next Blue Origin mission to space. This guy is going to space before you. He's dating Kim Kardashian, and he's going to space, and he's not funny on SNL, and there's this.
Because he's reaching out to Ye and has...
No, I wish it was about Hillary.
A lot to say. Let's get into it.
Buckle up, you guys, because this one's a doozy. So on Sunday, March 13th, Kanye West dropped a series of videos and pictures to his Instagram page, continuing to share with the world his family-related issues with Kim Kardashian. And within one of the videos that's now been deleted, Ye mentioned that Pete had been antagonizing him through text messages.
Her boyfriend is texting me pictures of him naked in bed talking about, I'm with your wife.
Now, for a moment, some people had trouble believing Ye. One Twitter user tweeted, Kanye West praying to God and says Pete Davidson texted him to tell him he's in bed with Kim. I don't think Pete Davidson ever texted this man.
It's real, and I saw it, and I would be pissed off too.
Well, believe it, friend, because Pete's friend and co-writer of King of Staten Island, Dave Sears, dropped the alleged receipts to his Instagram page. And not gonna lie, I was picking my jaw off the ground when I saw these. In the leaked text exchanges, which a source close to Ye confirmed to E! News that they are indeed real, Pete called out Ye directly for his actions and even defended Kim in all of this. Pete texted Ye, yo, it's Skeet. Can you please take a second and calm down? It's 8 a.m. and it don't gotta be like this. Kim is literally the best mother I've ever met. What she does for those kids is amazing and you are so f***ing lucky that she's your kid's mom. I've decided I'm not gonna let you treat us this way.
It's literally 8 a.m. Now we know Kanye is an early riser. Good for him.
Anymore, and I'm done being quiet. Grow the up. To which Ye responded with, oh, you're using profanity. Where are you right now?
I love that. He's like, I'm gonna come over right now. I'm gonna fight you, dude.
And Pete hit him back with, in bed with your wife.
All right. Right then and there, he deserves to be slapped.
And a selfie along with it. Yeah, let's just take a moment to let that sink in because The conversation went on with Pete offering to sit down and...
Happy to see you're at a hospital in rehab.
Talk to Ye one-on-one and to air out whatever grievances Ye has with him privately. Pete wrote, I'm in LA for the day. If you want to stop being a little internet boy and talk. You don't scare me, bro. Your actions are so and embarrassing. It's so sad to watch you ruin your legacy on the daily. As for Kanye's response, all he had to say was that if Pete wanted to see him, to come to Sunday service.
Come to church, bruh.
Pete went on to offer Ye help and even revealed that he went out of his way to stop his comedian friends, as well as the SNL writers, to keep from poking fun at Ye. But in the end, Kanye had nothing else to say according to the screenshots. But throughout the heated text messages,
Pete Davidson's actually a really good guy, even though he said, I'm in bed with your wife. I mean, he's such a good guy. I love Pete. I don't know why, but I do. There's like this weird phenomenon about Pete Davidson that people are just obsessed with him. I don't get it. Because he has tattoos and he looks like a 12-year-old boy. Like, I don't understand.
Some fans could fixate on is the possibility of Kim's name being tattooed on Pete's chest. Some fans believe that Pete had Kim's name inked below his shoulder. But the tattoo has yet to be confirmed. We definitely do see something there though. Anyway, as all of this is going on, it's been confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter that Pete will be heading to space later this month on Blue Origin.
Okay, see? He's going to space. Okay, we have so many fights lining up. We have Putin versus Elon, which I'll get into soon. And then we have Logan Paul and Conor McGregor. And now we have Kanye and Pete Davidson. I want to see a fight. I want to see an actual UFC or boxing. No, let's go UFC fight. I want MMA. I want the real thing. God. Freaking Pete Davidson. That guy's... All right. Listen to this from Janet Yellen. You know, we were told inflation is transitory. Then we said inflation is a good thing. And now it's Biden's price hike. Price hike. God. What's happening in the world? But then she comes out and says this.
I don't want to make a prediction.
I don't want to make a prediction.
Exactly as to what's going to happen in the second half of the year. You know, we're likely to see another year in which 12-month inflation numbers remain very uncomfortably high.
It's going to be uncomfortably high, folks. Whatever the frick that means. I think Pete is a little dweeb and Kim Kardashian is nothing but plastic. Of course she is. Yeah, exactly. Kim Kardashian, she comes, you know, she's all talks about how hard of a worker she is, but how did she get famous again? Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's listen to this. This should be rich.
And their oil-soaked cronies at the American Petroleum Institute, the American Prevarication Institute, want to feed the American people one of the biggest lies of all. And that drilling for more oil and more gas is the path to energy independence.
Yeah, that's a huge lie. Why would drilling for more oil and gas lead to energy independence? That's just lies. That's just misinformation. That's just science.
Republicans say that they have an all-of-the-above plan, but it's really an oil-above-all plan.
Boom! God, I freaking hate statements like that.
The GOP always has stood for the gas and oil party, and its argument...
That's right. We're Democrats. We hate gas and oil. In fact, we talk about how we're going to disband it all the time, and then when it goes up, we're like, oh my God, why is it going up? I have no idea. It's these greedy oil companies that we just talk crap about all day long, and these stupid jerks.
...of drilling equals energy independence is leakier than an old oil tanker.
God. The Democratic Party, this is Ed Markey. They are on a mission to change the narrative or facts so you think about this oil situation differently. It's very interesting how they're reframing everything about saying that us drilling for more oil and gas is not a good thing, and it's not going to help us lead to energy independence. To say it's not going to help is so dumb. It's just not going to help. It's not going to help at all. Won't do anything to help. Nothing will help here. You're getting broker. You're paying more for gas, which in turn will be more for groceries, more for everything. But it's worth it for these stupid Republican lies. Oh, some of these people are just the worst. Okay. This is Biden today. We're just at this point, I just feel like at this point you could just say whatever you want and people are just, the galls that some of these politicians have to just spit absolute nonsense and not get any pushback at all, it's just insane to me.
Make no mistake, the current spike in gas prices is largely the fault of Vladimir Putin. It has nothing to do with the American Rescue Plan.
What a perfect scapegoat for Biden and our aggressive inflation. It's all Putin's fault. All of it. If you say otherwise, okay, here's the. It's my favorite right here. Elon Musk challenges Putin to a fight. And then here's an actual clip from the fight.
Schmidt! What the hell was that? Wait, no way. Okay, eat it. All right, that's the way you want to do it. Play dirty, huh? Okay, game on, man.
Sweep the leg.
Yeah, I'm coming out.
That's me. Sweep the leg.
Man. Schmidt!
Oh, God. I do want to see this fight, though. I mean, the stakes are, I don't know. And then he goes on to push it even more. I love it. Elon Musk is the hero. God, I just realized you can't even see it. Elon Musk is the hero we all deserve. You know, can we go back to a time where leaders would duel each other? I miss those days. I want actual fights now. I'm tired of people just talking smack. I want duels. I want boxing matches. I don't want the next presidential debates to happen. I want Trump versus Biden to actually get in a ring and duke it out, and whoever survives wins. Like, may it be so. I'm just imagining the Democratic Party. Like, that's how you choose your VP too. You just throw them all in a ring and see what happens. I think Tulsi Gabbard would have wiped the floor. Her and that pro-Putin talk. Oh. Who's with me on the chat? I mean, seriously. It'd be amazing. Okay, did you guys see this today? This UN guy talking. This kind of freaked me out. Let's start this.
Of the war, whether by accident or design, threatens all.
DEFCON, you're all for it? Good. Me too, man. I'm just, I mean, we could do it in a safe manner. It doesn't have to be total out craziness. We could have fun. The UN works for, God, feels like it. All right, here's the UN Council today as they're talking. They're just amping it up more and more. This is very, 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 it's just, it's getting to the point where it's like progressing so rapidly that it makes me nervous. And I think it should make everyone nervous, because people that feel nervous about this whole situation are the ones that are actually paying attention. The ones that are not paying attention, well, they're just spitting whatever they're being told to say.
Finally, further escalation of the war, whether by accident or design, threatens all of humanity. Raising the alert of Russian nuclear forces is a bone-chilling development. The prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility. The security and safety of nuclear facilities must also be preserved. It's time to stop the horror unleashed on the people of Ukraine and get on the path of diplomacy and peace.
We're going to war. It's just so crazy. Okay. Let's check on the news, see if anything exciting's happening. Don't you guys feel like we're gonna end up in war? So it's just like only a matter of when.
On the eastern outskirts of Kyiv, fierce fighting today in the same area where a Russian tank column was ambushed and forced to retreat last week. The attacks on Kyiv follow a massive missile strike on a Ukrainian base about 10 miles from the Polish border, on NATO's doorstep. At least 35...
Do you guys like Mark Levin? Life, liberty, and Levin. He's very intense right now.
Military experts say the Russian invasion remains stalled in many places across Ukraine. Putin's forces switching tactics to shelling towns and cities more heavily and indiscriminately. Mariupol is a vision of hell. Apocalyptic scenes of a burning...
Oh, by the way, I'm going live on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm going a little early because I got something I need to be to later that night, unfortunately. Just so you guys know, because you guys are my My peeps.
More than a week without power, heating, and low on food and water. Officials say over 2,000 people have been killed here.
I don't think they want U.S. to go to war. They just want to use the conflict to crush our economy. God. Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's a sobering thought. Yeah, I mean, China's like, whatever. Come to us, baby. We'll take all of y'all's problems. We'll take all the world's problems. What, you don't want to make drugs anymore? We'll make your drugs for you. You don't want to make manufacturing anymore? We'll manufacture for you. Oh, Russia, you having problems with your money system? We got you. You can put all your money with us. We promise to take care of it. We'll do everything you need to do. You're my news anymore? Oh, Mika. That means so much to me. Honestly, it does. I try to fact check and put everything I can into this, and I spend a few hours loading up all these videos for you guys. So I really appreciate you saying that. I do my best. I trust you check all the sources out there. I do, and if I do say something wrong, I'm happy to say I'm an idiot and I am wrong. And again, I always per usual say, like, if there's something I'm saying that you wonder, check. Don't just put your trust in me. Like, I do my best, but I get things wrong. I have sources that aren't good.
Zelensky, he's been meeting with the war wounded, talking to Congress.
And I try to do a lot of video clips, so you never know sometimes.
Even more. David?
Ian Panel leading us off here on a Monday night. Ian, thank you. And with that attack 10 miles from Poland tonight, what a senior U.S. official is now warning where and what the Russians could target next.
I feel like they're praying they attack Poland.
Martha Raddatz is in Lviv, Ukraine. She also interviews tonight the young...
But again, I could be wrong again. I know people are saying that Putin's going to Poland. Putin's going to keep invading. And I was the one that said I didn't think Putin would ever go to Ukraine. And he came out and said that. And I said, forgive me. Like, I didn't think he would ever be so stupid to do this. And now we're in this, like, incredible predicament throughout the whole world. The whole world's in a pickle, and we have the worst leaders in the world leading us in that pickle. It's such a shitty time. Give it time. People will start to catch on. You've been doing a great job. Hey, thank you so much. I haven't had a lot of time lately, so you've been good in front. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I do this because I enjoy doing it. It's fun. America is being surrounded. Feels like it.
Eastern Ukraine, they built bunkers with tunnels snaking underground and are ready to fight. 25-year-old Harrison Josefowicz, a veteran who did a tour in Africa.
And I realize also I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm a weird dude, so.
To come here.
We're all coming together for the right reasons, and it's.
I know a lot of people like go to podcasts because they're looking for Ben Shapiro or Tim Pool or Joe Rogan or somebody, and I'm not any of those people.
Son, home in San Diego.
I tend to flip things on a dime, but I'm glad you guys are here for the ride.
But a U.S. official warns Russia could target not only these training sites inside Ukraine, but weapons bound for Ukraine that are being stored in Poland, risking a direct confrontation with...
All right, I'm going to check out Levin. Okay. I can't stand Joe Rogan. Yeah, I don't know a lot of women that like Joe Rogan. Okay, Mark Levin is off his rocker. He really is. Let's listen to his little opening line. There's a certain... I don't want to like judge people, but in an age group, there's like a little bit of a nostalgia thing about Russia. It's like, I remember the good old days where we used to go in our bunkers and hide because we thought the Cold War was happening. We thought a nuclear apocalypse was going to happen, and there have always been the enemy. And then there's people like me and my generation who look at everything in Russia, and I'm like, I don't connect to Russia being the ultimate evil empire of the whole world. Like, that doesn't connect in my brain as much as people from other generations. So then we have people like Mark Levin, who is, well, let's listen.
1994 to help protect their sovereignty if they give up their nukes. There are no nukes there. There's been a phony story about American biotech centers there to develop.
There's a funny story going on.
Weapons and so forth.
There's a story about bioweapons that I can either confirm nor deny.
Of course, the Putin wing of the Republican Party, and the Putin wing of the media, and the Putin wing of the Democrat Party, they're all over it.
The Putin wing. Who is this Putins? Are you talking about Tucker Carlson? These people that are anti-war, I'm ready to go to war. Give me the arms to defend myself. I'm Mark Levin. I'm losing my mind.
Now, those are old Soviet locations that the United States has...
Yeah, it's the old Soviet locations that were there for like 20 years that we never destroyed, that we just kept going, and then yet there's actual information out there that says we actually funded some things, but we don't want to have that discussion. Russia's a bad guy, and there's nothing else to discuss here.
...is located and has been trying to deal with. We're not developing biochemical weapons in the Ukraine.
No, I'm Mark Levin. I know everything.
What is it about these so-called American firsters in the end who are really American lasters?
God, I hate one-liners like that. It's so dumb.
If you think about it.
If you think about it, you can literally say anything and then end it with, if you think about it. I think Mark Levin actually has hair underneath that bald cap, if you think about it. God, this guy is off his rocker. I'm just so tired of people just can't have a nuanced conversation about being against war. It's like if you say anything that's other than what's being pushed down your throat by anything in the media, all of a sudden you're a conspiracy, right-wing, pro-Putin. You can't just be anti-war and just like, I don't care what happens. I just don't want to go to war with them. You're like, all of a sudden pro-Putin. This is ridiculous. I enjoy bouncing around. Hey, DEFCON, I enjoy bouncing around, following all the different sources you check on. Appreciate the work you put in, man. 10 times better than the main. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Hey, no commercials besides my own commercial, which is absolutely ridiculous and silly. But Mark Levin, never got into Mark Levin. I know he's like enjoyed by some of the older crowd. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this today, but this is like the freaking definition of what bravery looks like. I know we did some things early today about people protesting Matt Walsh's thing and trying to shut down his conversation, shut down him from just speaking, because, you know, speaking is violence. But here's what real standing up for what you believe in looks like. Here's Russian TV right here.
Российский премьер подчеркнул, надо усилить сотрудничество в рамках союзного государства, а на совещании в правительстве...
That woman is probably not at her home safely tonight. This is a Russian television news.
Обсуждали, как сохранить доступность лекарств.
And they cut the feed. I mean, God, honestly, I'm going to say it, what a freaking badass. It's like, these people, this is what, like, I don't give a crap. I'd rather live standing than on my knees. This is the kind of girl, the kind of person that would fall into battle. Just kind of this, like, bring that junk on. I don't care. I stand up for what I believe in. I love it. I mean, even if, like, whatever you believe about this war and stuff, it's so cool. I mean, it takes real balls. Oh, yeah, and this. Okay. This is also crazy. I don't know if you guys saw this video. Here's a crazy woman of a Russian protester she'll just hold up a tiny sign and watch how fast the police go after her. This reminds me of truckers in Canada. Just kidding. This isn't Canada, this is Russia.
За активистов вообще.
Вы за активистов?
За активистов, конечно.
Я просто хотела спросить, как вы думаете, если здесь вот просто сказать два слова, меня за это сейчас арестуют?
Look at her. She holds the sign up. Am I going to get arrested for this? That's just 2 words.
Вас уже задерживают.
Boom.
С ума сойти. С ума сойти. Вы это видели, нет?
Вы снимаете только оппозиционеров, да?
Всех снимаю. Всех
снимаете? Ну, а вот у кого есть другое мнение, вы тоже их снимаете?
Конечно, всех снимаю.
Ну, а тех, кто, например, не выходит на митинги, и кто считает, что военная операция, которую развернула наша страна, вы таких снимаете?
Да, мы Все мнения показал.
Ну вот я тоже хочу высказать тогда свое мнение.
Скажите.
Меня устраивает то, что...
You didn't even say anything. Boom, gone.
Это шок-контент. Человек пришел сказать, что ее устраивает. Видимо, Владимир Владимирович Путин в том числе и все остальное. Но она и не простояла нескольких секунд.
I mean, that video is nuts. Crazy. Crazy. But this looks oddly familiar for things that happened in the past. Bravery, though. That's what bravery looks like. So, good for them. That's why when people always tell me that Russian people are bad, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? There are beautiful people like this out there. Dude, I love that you guys are having a conversation. Not sure, possibly. Awesome. Okay. I don't really know what to think of this. So, a man gets removed from a flight for wearing a Let's Go Brandon mask.
And there's no other flight. I got to get home for work tomorrow.
God, it reminds me of those Russians being taken.
I'm now wearing the mask, Michael.
Now he just make the decision, and we need to go on with everything.
It's going to cause problems.
You may not have a dissenting opinion. He has a different mask on. He took his other mask off.
Without causing him a headache, and Michael is offended. Therefore, I can't fly home to my family today. Everybody get that? His name is Michael with JetBlue. I complied and switched my mask, and yet, because I wanted it on video that I was being asked to change a mask, he now wants me off the fucking plane.
I love that all these people are just like complicit and they're just like, yeah, get out of here, freaking sicko. It's just like, again, you guys are all clapping this and you think that one day maybe it'll switch on you and what you believe in or what you want to stand for is no longer accepted. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm the victim and no one's helping me. And everyone that, like this guy, will remember people like you for not standing up and speaking up for him. We are just such a fragile culture in today's world where we can't handle emotions, we can't handle dissenting opinions because it's aggressive, it's hateful, it's hate speech, and it should be taken down. We are not very serious adults anymore. We don't know how to cope in life, and we seek every means necessary outside of ourselves to cope. It's really sad. Everyone is losing their minds. I know. It's literally insane. All of a sudden, it seems like COVID is all... Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that one. Okay. This story is nuts. Let's see. So Christopher Rufo, check on any of this stuff. Oh, shut up. No way. Biden's going to Europe.
Has been made. Today, the president's national security advisor was in Rome meeting with a top Chinese diplomat for
Biden's going to Europe because Kamala's doing such a bang-up job out there.
Concerns about China providing military equipment or financial support to Russia. The Kremlin denied making that request for help, and China blasted the accusation as U.S. disinformation.
And Kelly, you're also getting more details about Ukrainian
The way other countries like Russia is just using some of our terminology to give justification for the actions that they give is so rich. Like the Russians saying that about they're the anti-fascists or whatever. Like
offensive weapons.
Lester Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Thank you. Also this evening, we're tracking severe weather.
All right. So this is a story out of Christopher Rufo. Take this. So he's saying a public school in San Antonio segregated fifth grade students by hair color, subjected them to harassment and abuse, and showed them graphic photos of murdered black children. All as part of a twisted anti-racial lesson. If you hear anti-racism, it's actually racism. An NBC San Antonio first reported teachers at Leon Springs Elementary School separated students into oppressor and oppressed categories. This is CRT at its finest, but it's don't try to say it as critical race theory. It's more of a critical theory. School separated students by oppressor and oppressed categories based on hair colors. Teachers told the dark-haired kids that they were privileged, and they told the fair-haired kids they were not as intelligent. So it's like a reverse racism, and that's what they always want to promote and push. It's this idea of reverse racism. And it's like, if it's reverse racism, it's not racism. And it's like, that's exactly what it is. Then the teachers gave the fair-haired kids a game with pieces missing so they could not play, suggesting that they deserve mistreatment. God. After the game was over, the teachers forced the fair-haired children to clean up after the privileged children. Jeez, this is like the most racist crap ever. As part of the lesson, the teachers showed clips of the Spike Lee documentary Four Little Girls about the Alabama church bombing, which included graphic autopsy photos of dead children, which is completely inappropriate to a group of 10-year-olds. The intention of the lesson is to expose inequity and make the 5th grade children feel the pain of segregation. But the exercise went haywire. Students began crying and told their parents that the teachers were segregating and psychologically abusing them. Yeah, because they're 10 years old. At 10, you can't have these deep philosophical conversations. It's just a law degree. It's just a law practice. It's just a way of philosophy. You don't give a 10-year-old existential philosophy. You don't ask them the meaning of life at 10 years old because they don't understand what that even means. Families are furious with the district after backlash. Direct administration said that they recognized the parents' concerns and agreed that the activity and video are not age appropriate and will not be used again. And here's the actual article, NBC San Antonio. Parents angered and segregated experience at the local elementary school. Sadly, this kind of practice is becoming more common in American public schools. Here are some essays from earlier year about segregation in the name of social justice. And that's exactly what it is. Last year during COVID around graduation time, we had segregated graduations where you had black only graduations, and it was propped up by, some of the African American groups and stuff like that. The left is pushing segregation in the name of anti-racism. And people mock this and laugh at this like it's not it's the most sadistic and disgusting thing ever. You can't take a group of 10-year-olds. It's the same thing with, this is CRT in its definition. You can't, it's just like the don't say gay bill in Florida. You can't take an age group of children and push your narrative, your propaganda, your philosophy, your ideology onto a child's brain that isn't fully formed or developed and think that they're going to subjectively or philosophically understand the point of this lesson. They are going to be deeply intrinsically hurt over stuff like this and psychologically wounded by forcing segregation upon kids so they can feel what it's like. And I hate that idea of just feeling what it's like to be the opposite person, as opposed to saying, as their way of saying that all black children feel this way, all white children feel this way, to say that my kids are going to grow up have more privilege in this world than people like Kanye West's children, or LeBron James or Colin Kaepernick's children. Those children will have way more opportunities than my kids will ever have. And to say that, so when you put people in a camp based on the color of the skin, as opposed to many different factors, it's the definition of racism. You're assuming something based on what someone looks like. But we live in an upside down world where anti-racist training is actually racist and anti-fascists are actually fascists. I can't do it anymore. You can't have conversations with people. I try to tell people this all the time. You can't have conversations. You can't engage in debate with people that believe that this stuff isn't actually racist, because they've never done they don't look up information. They just accept the facts for what they're being told, as this is just a law school thing. Your kids aren't taught that. They're just taught that that black people had it rough back in the history. They're just given a history lesson. That's a lie. This is a deep-rooted philosophical mindset that there are those who are oppressed and oppressors, and if you look a certain way, you are the oppressor. And I could talk about this all day long because it's so racist, and I don't understand how anyone can be for this. It's just like the Don't Say Gay bill. I don't understand how you can be for teaching kindergarten children about sex. It's the same with these like sexy camps where they want to teach children about sex, and you send your children off to these people. It's insane. DEFCON says 100% they're isolating us from each other and polarizing everything. Exactly. Everything's black and white to them. Nothing's nuanced. Nothing can have a conversation. And the minute you want to have a conversation, the minute you say, oh, this is segregation, this is racist, this is something we should have a discussion about and never do again, they're like, oh, that's hate speech. That's hate speech. That means if you are not for this, all of a sudden you're like a white racist piece of crap. I just think it's so disingenuous and so stupid. I can't do it anymore sometimes. I can't with these people. Anyways, that's all I could think about that. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. It's 11 o'clock, so I'm going to go to bed. But Wednesday, come hang out Wednesday. I'm going to go a little earlier. It's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Come hang out with me. We'll have some other stuff queued up. If you guys missed my intro speech at the beginning, feel free to rewind that and check that out. I felt like it was good. I don't know. We'll see. But check it out. DEFCON and Mika, I appreciate both of you so much for hanging out with me. It means so much, and getting in the chat and stuff like that. I saw people were coming and going, but I always appreciate people like you guys for chatting. You guys are good people. Don't let anybody tell you different. I'm gonna end with my pretend break, and yeah, freaking love you guys. You guys are awesome. Have a good night. I'll see you Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. It's a little early on Wednesday this time, but Friday I'll be back at normal time. Peace out. Peace out, guys. My fellow Americans, it's me, Joe Byron. Make sure to support Derek O'Shea by going to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea. Easily one of my least favorite YouTubers of all time. And all you have to do is go down here, buy him a coffee, support his show, or even join as a member. $3 a month, that's all it costs. And you could be a big time supporter of his show. He's a good guy, but he's a piece of crap, and I hate him for that. I hope you have a great day, and as always, let's go get ice cream, and I need to get my sniff on.